Well, first of all, welcome to everybody that came down to the budget presentation. We'll say, after 9 years of being on council, this is one of the toughest budgets. They're never fun, but this one was especially difficult with the last 2 years being with some COVID and some uncertainties. So we worked diligently on it, and we're going to walk you through it. There will be time for questions afterwards. The one thing is, if you do have a question, if you can speak into the microphone, because it will be streaming for anybody that wants to watch it. So I'd like to thank you all for coming to the open house. Tonight, we're going to take a high-level look at the 2023-2024 budget, and we have staff on hand to answer any questions. The presentation should take about 10 minutes. It's going to take 5. And there will be time for questions. So after the presentation, you can visit the various stations. Each station has detailed information, and there's a QR code on the overview handout that will link you directly to the budget page on our website, where you can find the full operational and capital budget. As you can see, this is the process that we sort of went through. We had a robust process to reach final draft budget, including public consultation and a full week of budget deliberations. We all had wants and we all had needs, and we tried to balance those out as best as possible. We started with the strategic planning process in January, and we sought input from the public on municipal services and citizens' priorities through a citizen input survey, which received 924 citizen submissions and 2 citizen community conversations. We also received 119 submissions from the internal staff survey. The engagement resulted in 8,225 pieces of data, which form council strategic planning to come up with our four main areas of focus. One of them was invest in our people and our processes, increase engagement with citizens and staff, which is what we're trying to do here, optimize asset management, and build a strong economy. So these focus areas were a driving factor when deciding what to fund for the 2023-24 budget. The Finance Committee, comprised of all members of the City of Camrose Council, met for 5 days in November to deliberate on the draft budget presented by administration. The base budget was within the 4% and 3% property tax increases for 23 and 24 as directed by Council. In addition to the base budget, administration presented 29 business cases for the committee's consideration. Business cases varied from service level changes to capital investments to risk mitigation initiatives, as well as other initiatives. In total, business cases represented almost a 10% increase in the tax levy, and over $14 million in the capital investment were presented by administration for deliberation of council. Based upon the results of the deliberation, the Finance Committee directed administration to add a number of business cases that were in alignment with the strategic plan to the base budget, and to bring the whole draft budget forward for consideration at the Committee of the Whole Council meeting, which we did on December 5th. Before we get into the details of the budget, I would like to highlight the different types of expenses to run the city. Our overall operating cost is $45 million. As you can see, almost half of that is staff wages, and we transfer approximately 14% into reserves to ensure long-term financial stability. An average home in the city has an assessed value of $275,000. 22% of those taxes will go to the school and lodge requisitions, which is legislated by the province. And additionally, 15% goes to the Camrose Police Services. That's why they're here. This chart in your budget overview for you to see in more detail, but the average owner will pay around $3,147 in taxes in 2023. Key to our budget process was awareness that inflation in 2022 really impacts our forecast for 23 and 24. The annual inflation rate for Alberta has ranged between 5% and 8% during 2022. This level of inflation has a significant impact on all costs throughout the city, and is a major contributor to the cost increases that the city is facing. Electricity rates have increased significantly in 2022 as well, and the cost to acquire, repair, operate, and maintain a fleet of equipment that the city uses have increased in excess to the general inflationary rates as well. As you saw previously, salaries accounted for almost 50% of the city's total expenses, and the city continues to target the median for salary levels for staff. The city has estimated increases to total salary and benefits for 23 and 24 that will be required to ensure that the city will remain competitive with our comparators. Also, adding to our increase in costs is a reduction in grant revenue from the province. This has forced us to raise our franchise fees in an attempt to make up the $1.85 million difference. Based upon recent estimates, even with the increases that we have budgeted, we aren't able to fully replace the drop in provincial funding. Hopefully, the province increases this amount in order to assist the city. In the draft 2023-2024 budget, Council is proposing a 5% increase to property taxes in both 23 and 24, an increase to the electrical franchise fee each year, no change to the natural gas franchise fee, a 5% average increase to the user fee and charges across the city. After several years of low to no increases, a 5% increase in water and wastewater rates for 23 and 24, and no change to the waste, organics, and recycling collection fees, but $1 per month organics processing fee will be added to the monthly rates, but this will be offset by a $1.80 reduction in the cart fees for waste collection. To understand the monthly and annual impact to the average homeowners with these changes, we evaluate the total cost for the average homeowner. The median homeowner in Camrose, based upon average consumption of water, electricity, and natural gas, will see an overall increase in their total cost to the city of Camrose for approximately $17 per month in 23. In 2024, the average homeowner will again see an overall increase in their total cost to the city of approximately $18 per month. After deliberating on all business cases presented to the Finance Committee review of Council, or of budget, Council chose projects that were in alignment with a strategic plan. We're investing in our people and processes by investing in permits, licenses, and land software system and an asset management program, increasing cybersecurity with remote monitoring for cyber attacks, and providing weekend on-call year-round pay for firefighters. We are focusing on our economy by reinstituting our small business grants, increasing investment attraction activities, increasing marketing and tourism work with additional resources, and we are increasing engagement with the citizens through increased communication resources and committing additional scheduling resources to improve customer service experience for the city's many facilities. And we are optimizing our assets by adding resources to the summer roads crew, adding resources to parks to care for trees and parks, and investing programming space and washroom upgrades at the Camrose Public Library. We continue to follow our 10-year capital plan and fund projects across all departments. We have a lot of spending occurring in 23 and 24, over $30 million in 23 and $20 million in 2024. For reference, our taxes provide the city about $28 million in revenue. In 23 and 24, we're basically spending more than our total property taxes on capital projects. And more details can be found in the 10-year capital plan documents online or by asking Travis Spoke, near where you came in. Council is very aware of the importance of ensuring that we have adequate funding for our future capital requirements. We have proposed a budget that does not steal from the future and maintains capital funding amounts. This ensures that all generations of Camrosians are contributing a fair amount to the assets that they're using. As we improve in this area, we start to look beyond the next 10 years and try to ensure that we are ready for any significant investments that may be beyond our 10-year plan. By doing this, we can ensure that we are making smart decisions today for both our current residents and our future residents. And that is summation, so if there is any questions, Patricia will have a mic. Alyssa has a question.
You mentioned that you were hoping that the province would increase funding again to municipalities. Do you know off the top of your head exactly how you would like to receive that funding? Is there a name of a budget line that was cut or a revenue stream that was cut? It would be nice to point to specifics.
Yeah, I think, well, Travis can speak to this too as well, but we did rely on MSI funding previously, which has streamlined into LGFF. And at that point in time, the funding has been decreased, but I think we were trying to band together with different cities as well to get an equitable amount of funding for the city in order to replace some of that lost MSI funding. Further questions? Well, with that, I'd like to, on behalf of Camrose City Council and administration, thank you very much for coming. I'm sure it was very exciting. Please come again in 2 years' time. But if you do have any questions, staff will be around. There is coffee and donuts and things. Help yourself, and you can ask any questions to staff or council or anybody around here. Thank you very much.